Race 3 Randwick yesterday was running the Roman CONSUL Stakes, 3-year-olds, Group 2 level over 1200 metres. The winner was Montana Fly from Drumbeats and Silent but Deadly, and 3-day growth over here wants to kick off on
George Michael.
I showed an hour ago.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Look, we all sort of were very bullish bagging Montana Flyer over the last couple of weeks, and to be honest, I don't think we've taken a hit with this result by any stretch of the imagination. She's won one other race before yesterday, which was on a heavy track, and yesterday she was given a stroll in the park up front and basically was allowed to dictate, and her fitness told over the last 100 to 200 metres, and she won the race. She'll be no world beater. She won't win anything decent beyond this race, I wouldn't think. She's escaped with this race. I'm still not a fan. So
she's a very good wet tracker, so she'll always be a big hope in those sort of conditions.
She's got a great trainer who had an enormous day. Look, what the horse I really want to talk about in the race is Drumbeats. For me, for a start, to look at the horse, an absolutely beautiful looking thing, real hulking sort, plenty to offer. He's a horse who looked well and truly beaten halfway up the straight, but found plenty of reserves and ran home extremely well for second. I think he's a horse you can follow in the future. He's a horse certainly to be watched. I think he's got plenty of ability, and he's my horse to follow out of that race. And Snow Alert was a horse that all three of us were sort of unanimous in agreement that he had plenty of ability. I think my friend even said, "Will win a Group 1."
He will.
Look, he may still do it, but I think there are plenty of excuses yesterday for him. Perhaps he didn't handle the wet track, a few other issues. His reputation had to have taken a hit yesterday. It had to have. I was very keen on him myself, so I'm not as keen on him going forward. I'm going to forgive him the run, and I want to see him again. But I really can't be as excited as I was originally about the horse. I think the stable was very keen on him as well. We have to put the expectations in check now and reassess after another run, because there weren't enough excuses to completely forgive that performance. He really folded up pretty ordinarily in the straight.
Yeah, look, I don't really have a lot to say about this race. It's just not a very memorable race for me. Good luck to the winner. Gets through the ground pretty well, and I think things went away. The second horse, as Matty suggested, I think is pretty progressive, and I think has got a future. Silent but Deadly's just a nice, honest, another Choisier. He's flying, I think...
She's very consistent, isn't she? She's always running around these group races and
she is,
taking on the colts even. And
very unfortunate name.
Credit where credit's due for Choisier there. Friend Suman was a big supporter of Choisier in the face of a lot of doubters, I suppose. There are plenty of people knocking Choisier as a selling prospect. Even put his money where his mouth was at the yearling sales as well, and you definitely reap the rewards of that, mate.
Yeah, no, I just always felt with Choisier, I never worried too much about his pedigree, and he's an early sort, real good type. He's a good
physically
type.
magnificent.
He's a good type, and he's just getting plenty of winners. A good stallion. Snow Alert was quite disappointing yesterday. I think he's a forgive horse because there was doubts going into the race about whether he would handle the ground, and he proved beyond any doubt that he didn't. I think if he put in a similar run like that on firm footing, then certainly the knives would be out. But I'm prepared to forgive him, and there's just too much momentum behind that horse from the stable, and from what we've seen in some of his efforts to suggest that horse is nothing other than top class. So I'm prepared to give him one more start on firmer ground, and not sack him completely. The others, particularly Mazuka, I think Mazuka would be better off running against the likes of Kerry Juna Saxby and Nathan Deeks. Nathan Deeks, I think that's his style. He's got no place in races like this.
Okay, so what you really think? No, look, I agree with the likes of a horse like Snow Alert. Good referencing, by the way, mate. Snow Alert, look, the only other time this horse ever stepped out on a rain-affected surface was his first lifetime start, and he ran third that day, beaten 5 lengths though, behind Boys Will Be Boys and Butane Dane. He was beaten out of sight, and that was on a dead track.
He doesn't.
His subsequent efforts on good surfaces have been a 4-length victory at Canterbury, and a very unlucky second in the Heritage behind Butane Dane that day, where he clearly should have won. So I think you're going to get a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing happening with this horse on a good track on a wet surface. Now, I'll say one thing though. Yesterday, to me, my eye, he looked like he was cruising outside the leader.
He was.
But that's okay, because they can do that. And they can
They
travel
can't
really
accelerate.
well until the pressure's on and they've got to accelerate, and that's when they don't find their
That's
footing.
right. That's right.
Now that's exactly what to me, he travelled beautifully, like the horse we think he is. But once the pressure was on and he had to find that extra gear, he couldn't. He was slipping by and he just couldn't get into action. So total
Was it disappointing or not? Was it disappointing or not?
Disappointing.
You're saying it wasn't disappointing?
No, I
You don't think he was
I think he's as
disappointed
good as what we think he is. Well, certainly, I really think he's.
It really-
You're not being bullish about that horse as we were after
Matt,
his
I
first
think
start.
that what the point is that if he put in that sort of performance on with everything even, he
On a
would
good
he
surface.
would have been
Yeah,
disappointing.
sure.
But we don't know if the horse.
You've got to forgive horses on wet track. You don't
Mate,
agree?
no, granted. I
Yeah,
said
yeah, that's all I'm
if you heard
saying.
me, yeah,
That's all
I
I'm
said
saying,
that you
yeah,
have
so-
you got to give him one more run, but I think you have to have some sort of question mark over that horse now.
On wet track, you have to have a huge question
It has
mark.
to
But
be.
I think on a dry track, you couldn't take
Well,
it away.
well,
Because
like I
horses
said-
can be champions on the dry and be absolute just dogs on the wet. It's
Yeah.
completely different. Not every horse can handle all
Bo Road
conditions.
was that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Ben Loosenut didn't really like
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
he'd
yeah,
win
yeah.
it still because he's a champion, but he didn't love it. There's been plenty of...
On face value, he was disappointing, yes, but I think there are real excuses yesterday for being
definitely.
on a wet track. So
Definitely.
we'll just wait and see what happens next start with him. And but again, that's probably all we need to really cover on the Roman Consul, I think.
Yep.
So thank you.